All right. We're talking about improving our Git flow. Some goals for us today really is to improve the review process. It's growing. We're getting more skilled, bigger features, and write code faster. But with that comes some drawbacks, and we need to and play with some better processes for us. Jack and I synced probably about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, Git flow, after we were shipping our feature metrics branch and rebasing, and it got pretty dirty. That's another goal for today. We want to simplify rebases. We're still going to have merge conflicts, but it won't be so messy, so we're not doing detective work on where commits came from. It can be fun. Other times it's a big pain. Another reason we want to do this is to preserve commit history master branches. Feature, say, right, the workout calendar, we don't just squash that into a single commit. As times all came from, and it just says epic workout builder. It's like, wow, I am not going to figure out why this piece of code exists. I believe that's so I've been doing this process for the last couple of weeks, better understanding of Git, and I love that. It makes me realize that there's always room for improvement in your Git flow. Even after just these last couple of weeks, I want to keep learning more. But for now, I'm going to try to catch the team up to what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, because that's what I'm able to share. So we have our GitHub labels, at least on the front-end repo. This is what we use in order to collaborate and have some kind of GUI for communicating with each other where a PR is at in the process. Once you open up a PR, chances are it's not totally complete. You'll have some eyes on it, and you'll put a work in progress. Work in progress tag means you're writing some commits, and they're perfect. When it comes time to review, I'm just going to tell you it looks good to me. And this is the ideal pull request lifecycle. Passes, and you get to push that nice merge pull request button.
Should something not be and have the needs QA labeled both at the same time? Do we not want that?
So that is usually correct. In most cases, and we'll talk about what an actual pull request cycle looks like. Because needs QA and ready for review are not going to be the same thing. You want to do a code review, which is what ready for review means.
Yep.
Maybe we should change it to code review. And then needs QA means, hey, code is looking good. Get in there and break some things.
Okay. Would it be any good, like, would doing review and QA at the same time shorten pull request cycles?
For small features, that's reasonable to do. But we're in features where there's a high risk of having code changes. QA code.
Right.
Code changes because
you got to re-QA it.
Comments, and then you QA the wrong code, so you got to do it again. Definitely better break that into 2 discrete steps on smaller features. I would slap both those labels on it, let people do what they want. Put in their head that after this fails code review for some reason.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Jack. All right. So the ideal pull request, everything looks good. Merge request button. But what really happens is of work in progress and ready for review. Review comments. Work in progress. You open it back up again. And again, we want to ease the review process for the reviewer. We've broken this up into a couple of stages. The pre-review process, which is nobody has reviewed it yet. Your goal here is to have a clean commit history. Intentional commits that, say if you're looking at a GitHub pull request and you're looking at a commit history, each and every individual one of those commits. On a commit, they are confident, the reviewer should be confident that that commit will not be overwritten. Not so much? Okay, well, we're gonna do a little interactive rebase together later. Right now, I just wanna focus on this pre-review stage. It's on having very manageable, clear commits. Using is a lot of rebasing. You always want to have the latest version of your base branch in this case. Collaborating with someone, chances are they may have rebased a branch. They may have rewritten history. That's totally allowed. Again, this in review, not in review, the pre-review stage up for the reviewer to have like very clear review. And last but definitely not least, code and rewrite the history before slapping the ready for review label on it. I like to review my code. I'll even leave comments for myself, and then I'll address those and delete those comments if I should. So let's say everything was good. You have that ready for review tag on there.
What is that doing?
Rewriting history, like chances are the first time you go through some commits, you may have missed something. A good example is like fixed tests commit that doesn't need to really live like for the entire life cycle of the commit.
It's like a temporary.
Yep. And we're going to show, do a little example of how to rewrite history together in a little demo. Let's see. So here's a really great library. It's called is13. Checks if a number is equal to 13. It doesn't do much else. But here's a great API. You check if the number is something, and then it has some methods on top of that. Look at all the forks on this thing. Oh no, that's mine. It's my forked version. Like has 265 forks, 1,800 stars.
So glad somebody finally wrote this. I've been using this forever.
Yeah.
Where was this 13 years ago?
What was this 13 years ago? I think they made this in 2003.
No way.
According to this piece of documentation.
Getting cool down now.
All right.
Source fork or something?
I can't remember where I found this. I'm not sure. This, I'm going to add support for PEMDOS. Know what PEMDOS is?
It's
Parentheses.
exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction.
Yep.
Knowledge is better than college.
DOS is order of operations, so parentheses come first, and exponents, division, addition, and subtraction. So I added some commits pretty recently to support PEMDOS. As you can see, they might not be the cleanest things. Some could argue that into a single commit. So full disclosure, I didn't actually write PEMDOS in this library. But here are the changes that we're going to be looking at and rewriting. And again, this will be done with, so let's make this bigger. PEMDOS example. And 11 commits is a little bit lengthy, so we're going to, so I rebase from my editor. But let's see if I can command plus this too. Command line, you're going to be doing a lot of get rebase -I and the number of commits that you want to go back history. So I'm going to show you how I do it, what my flow is, because I think that's always interesting when you see what somebody else's tools are. A little example of how you would do it from the terminal. So let's look at history here. So like advanced git log, you can see I branched off of master here with my branch task PEMDOS support. I add support for P. The commit message is very clear, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that. Here, using I and interactive rebase. And this is what your get rebase is going to look like, whether editor. So you have a few options here, and we're going to focus on the first one, which is just rewording a commit. Change this to reword. And you'll be able to rewrite this commit. Add support for parentheses in DOS. A little bit more clear. And we can do that for each and every single one of these commits. Rebase, you'll notice that commits are ordered from oldest to newest. It'll always be the case. Let's see what else we can do. I want to focus on rewording and fix up. So Robbie, you and I talked about this hint, fix your linting errors, right? This looked like, and this one was just double quotes to single quotes. So I don't think that there's a good commit that this goes in right now. Probably tackle this for later. So that wasn't a great example, but here's a couple tests. See what that looked like. Test for subtraction. So to add support for S, and reword that commit. Again, putting reword instead of pick. I want to squash fixed tests into that is by labeling this a fix-up. So I'm going to go ahead and execute this. What I do is reword that commit. Action. So I could just. So it looks like that worked and was reworded to add support for subtraction. And that previous commit fixed tests merged into the commit above it. It completely lost the history of tests. Fix up, commit message history is lost. Look at some other fun things. Yes, please.
A quick shortcut for fix up.
Hmm?
Just squash commits. That automatically fixes them up into the one above them. The chance to reword all of the combined commits. It gives you all the commit messages in your buffer when you're rewording the top one. You're editing the commit message for the top level one, they all got squashed into.
Cool.
And so that gives you context when you're writing that commit message. You have like all the previous commit messages in one spot while you're doing that.
Sweet. What that would look like. So instead of breaking out all of these into individual for mult, for division, let's see if we can squash all of these together. PEMDOS, is what it's going to say. So I'm going to label each of these commits, and that should allow us to rewrite.
Squash them into the first one labeled squash.
The one above it.
The one, okay, so the
Squash
top
and the
pick.
Yeah. Actually, one other thing I want to do before I do that. Right, it's PEMDOS, PEMD, and here it's SA, but it should be AS. Switch the order of those commits.
How did you do that?
We're just gonna like straight up copy and paste one above the other. And now I have some unresolved merge conflicts. Rebase. I'm gonna use my merge tool. Can I blow that, make that bigger?
Good example of when you reorder cases if you have migrations. Those at the very top of the PR
Right.
as the first commit. All right, here's the new database the rest of the commits are going to be building off of.
And if you have further commits that edit that migration, so the first
Exactly.
migration
so
commit.
all your database changes happen right in the first commit.
Really, but I can't make this any bigger. Cool. So that is not particularly helpful. Just resolving some merge conflicts here. We're on add support for division. I commit right afterwards. So I think for add support for division, resolve these. That'll do it. Continue my rebase. For unresolved conflicts. Really want that. Here's one with subtraction and addition. Pretty. Blew the subtraction commit away because I had no changes. So now addition carries. That was not my intention here.
If there's a case where you under reorder and you worry about the commit being empty after the merge conflict, you're doing your read -- and that will keep your there. So
Okay.
you can verify, okay, this commit is now empty because I merged all this stuff.
Got it. Yeah, I probably did that by accident. Still learning how to do this properly.
Really basic question because I'm a little out of the loop on this. So
Yes.
do we ever merge or we only read?
Good question. We are going to merge. Yep, we're going to merge. Like right now, we're in the pre-review stage.
Right.
Somebody has reviewed, then we're going to start merging. If you want to merge in changes from elsewhere. And the reason we do that is so the reviewer, little like view changes, like view the changes since you last reviewed this. It would blow away the commit history. We have like we wouldn't know where we left off in the review.
Level context about how this works. I get logged. It's a bunch of things. This changed, then this thing changed on top of it. This changed. We want to tell a good story. We want to show the reviewer, here's how this thing came together. But we want it to be a good story, so we're going to lie a little bit. We're not going to tell them the actual history. Like, someone here that stuck it in there and wrote some tests. Right, so we lie, we write history. And we, of events that we decided this is how this thing came together.
Great way to put it. Go ahead and squash these commits, like you were saying. So we're just going to add support for PEMDOS instead of all of these individual ones. And this is what the commit history is going to look like. And this is what Jack was talking about. This will give us a chance to rewrite. I'm just going to add support for. And I'm actually going to blow everything else here away. Right here, Jack, just to do this.
And this is a good opportunity when you're in there editing that commit message and you see a bunch of other commit messages you're blowing away. You think about it, these commit messages have anything important in them. So underneath that top subject line there in commit message, maybe expand a little bit. Form. Here's what else happened in the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But if you decide that the other commit messages are worthless, nothing there is worth mentioning, then just get rid of them.
All right, so here's our commit, add support for PEMDAS. That's looking a lot better than the ones. Let's see if we can squash this down a little bit more. Reorg to be more PEMDAS-y, because it's just moving S below A. I think we can fix that up. Let's fix that up. That seems pretty helpful. Like that. Please excuse my Durant Sally. At all. I'm going to go ahead and kill that commit. How would you kill a commit from?
You can just delete the line or stick the word D in front of it.
Okay. Now we have add support for PEMDAS, as well as so that looks pretty good. Just going to go ahead and fix that up as well. Awesome. Now we have it in a single commit, all done from git rebase. And now we're going to have to force push from there. And the reason we have to force push is because we've changed the commit history. The remote head, we are no longer tracking the remote head at all.
Crucial thing here, don't rewrite the story while somebody is reading it. If code review is ongoing, you don't want to force push them. Read through a couple of commits. You want to keep expanding on where you're at. It's totally okay during this portion to have commits like, or make JS hint stop crying and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of reading it. Once all the code is approved, then is a good time to squash back down again. Come along, you're going to be people in the future trying to figure out why things work the way they do.
Yep. And we're going to go over that a little bit more right now. The pre-review stage, right? You're going to be setting up the perfect story for your reviewer. So after the initial review, you're going to be appending commits. So not rewriting anything before the remote head. That makes sense. Going to be continuing your story. And even at this point, it's okay to have things like fixed JS hint or fixed tests or something like that in your commit history. There are going to be a lot fewer commits after the initial review. That way, the reviewer is going to be able to go through, click on individual commits, or click that view changes button if the changes that they requested have been addressed, right? So rebasing from the base branch, if you need changes from that base branch, you're going to use a git merge. Is because we do not want to rewrite the previous that has already been reviewed, or else the reviewer completely loses track of where they were in the story. So this next one, rebase, interactive rebases are totally allowed after a PR has initially been reviewed. Go ahead and rebase only after where the reviewer left off. Sense at all?
I think so.
Okay. And Jack, I'll need your help on this one. If collaborators need to sync up, it's a good time to do a git pull -- rebase as opposed to a reset hard.
Reset hard. If you have commits that you need to put on top of what's coming down, pull -- rebase. But if you're collaborating with someone and you're both branch, that's not a good time for anybody. Because
okay.
You don't want to change the story while someone's reading. also collaborate in that branch. Only do merges, only do commits that, all right, the story's done. Now let's just edit it so we can. That's when you do a rebase before it goes to dark. But while two people are collaborating in a branch, not really a good idea. Like force polls and stuff like that.
Got it. Thank you. So ignore that last dash rebase. That's not what we want to be doing.
That's the one I've always used in Noun.
What's that's going to do is if you have commits that are not yet in the but you need to pull in stuff from the remote branch that doesn't match up your history on top of it.
Yep.
So that's what you'll have to do if the other guy rebased and base your stuff on top of it. Really hard to tell what actually got merged. Rewrite some history so the other guys can go and pull rebase again.
Yeah, so that's why I have this little medal at the top. Preserve commit history, right? Makes it easier for the reviewer and collaborators. And you get to put it ready in review again. Work in progress. Append commits in review stage. Reviewer is going to get a nice view changes button here. If you've appended from the last reviewed state. If it all looks good, you can slap in these QA, and maybe there'll have to be another round of work in progress. If things fail. So if all goes well, again. Now here is where you rewrite the whole history PR until the final one. And this is again where you tell the clear story. Pull request is for and what this feature is for. It'll live and develop, and if we ever come across a piece of code that we blame on, we'll be able to find it pretty easily. Hopefully have a clear message of why a piece of code exists. That purposeful commit history.
Now, if you're not careful in this final rebase, this is a little bit hazardous because let's say you have a merge conflict, and the way you resolve the merge conflict is by code or something along those lines. The way things work. That's going to be new code in your commits that the reviewer to review already. So you're basically adding new code after a merge conflict. So while you're doing this final rebase, that's a pretty bad sign. Carefully, then you might even need to ask somebody to review the way that for the final merge, just because there is the opportunity here to actually change the thing. Yeah, try to only really squash at this stage. It's really out of order. Just kind of take the new commits that were reviewed and then like one smaller one usually. But if things start getting out of order and there's a bunch of merge conflicts, you might cock up something in the actual break something that wasn't
best to that base branch at this point. There are merge conflicts.
No, this last rebase is more about squashing like data criteria and code review and stuff like that down. So a rebase here is still appropriate. End up in a state where you have merge conflicts, you might want to change the way you're avoiding conflicts too. So you have 3 commits in a row, and then you go into the review, you end up adding some more commits. So now you have 5 commits, and 2 of them are about fixing tests. And the story would be a lot nicer if I took these 2 commits at the end that people just reviewed, them into this one, like this top commit. But in that process, there's merge conflicts because you're in a different state than the other 2 below it. Resolution of those conflicts, you introduce some breakage. You stick a syntax error in there or something along those lines. Or in syntax error because we have CI, so we're not that dumb. But like, yeah, that is introduced into the develop branch.
Gotcha. So
And
how do you propose?
Just squash them down directly and keep them at the end. Sacrifice the story a little bit in that case in favor of being safer. Your history won't be as clean that way, but that's better on review code in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
The alternative is to go ahead and do the merge resolution, but then you have to ask somebody to re-review that stuff. Merge resolution properly.
Okay. And so then what if the base branch review, you did your initial rebase before review happens to merge, so you are doing your rebase change, you need to rebase off of that again. That's where I deal with the most merge conflicts at that point.
You should merge the base branch back into your current working branch
Okay.
rather than a rebase on top of it. Merge commit and puts it in there and has all the conflict resolutions in a nice merge commit. Hey, I just got done merging my branch. Can you guys look at this last merge commit and make sure my merge resolution is okay? Commit to look at that shows how the resolution happened.
Gotcha. Repeat what I'm hearing back to you. So we do actually rebase off the base branch. Your interactive rebase to clean up. You go through the review process prior to merge. If there have been changes on the base branch, you merge those in. It's there. Then you do your interactive rebase.
Is had a chance to review that merge commit.
Yes, I
because that
understand.
merge commit is going to have code changes in it.
Okay, perfect.
Well, do you guys ever use the button directly in Git or GitHub?
I don't. You can though. I think that just adds a new merge commit, which is exactly what the CLI tools would be doing. So that's fine.
Cool.
All right. And if it's ready for merge, hopefully you can.
Yo.
Yeah. Ship show.
What'd
All
you
right.
call me?
All right. So that's what I've been learning and the process I've been focusing on for the last couple of weeks.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
worth it. When you go and buy a piece of code works the way it does, you hire new people and they come and take giant code base and you the way they are. They can just do a git log on the file they're in and see how that file evolved and commit messages that link back to PRs. Give them a full story to read about why things are done the way they are. And that is really valuable for getting people up to speed quickly.
Of having our commit history tell a good story. That like.
Yeah. I'll probably fuck this up a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heads up.
It's cool. It's a hard thing to get right.
Shit out of everything since you guys are like rebase, and I'm like perfect.
Yeah.
Once you're good at it, it's so satisfying to like put up a PR and just has a couple of nice commits that, like about how this thing evolved. And yeah, it's awesome when your entire project's Git history looks the same way.
Something that I failed to mention here, as part of this new process, pull request instead of squash merge. So
we're essentially just doing the squashing manually beforehand, so that when we get to the merge.
Yep, and
Okay.
it will create a merge commit.
Is advantageous because that links back to the PR commit. Then you should be able to find the PR that it came from, which is really good for getting conversational context.
Okay.
When you go to deploy, you can do a git log develop dash or a dot master, and that will show you only the merges that you're merged into the master branch. The difference in develop and master in terms of only the merge commits, which in the case of this GitHub workflow will only be the PR numbers that things came from. So the actual pull request that you're about to ship,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
awesome.
a really awesome side effect of this.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Git log develop dot master. If you're awesome ref, syntax to use is that dot. It's just one branch name dot another branch name. And it just shows the difference between those two commits. So if you want to see the difference between your branch and develop, you do develop dot your branch log or git diff. and that will show you the difference in commits or the difference in actual code between the two.
Using shell within the text editor, or are you
Plugin.
using Emacs plugin?
It's awesome. It's great. It's the one thing that makes me wish I used Emacs.
What is just like an interface to get?
Exactly. In order to commit or rewrite history, I don't ever have to leave my editor.
Single key to do all these. Type out entire commands for it. You can do the single key, and it's insanely fast.
Do you use for any of this stuff, or like to simplify some of it? Or?
No, a lot of companies develop that, especially with a lot of pair programming. You sort of end up with a lot of shared shell configurations.
Yeah. I still use my company's Emacs configuration. Nice.
Yeah, we all use such vastly different tooling that there's not a lot of room for consolidation there.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, really
Thanks,
cool.
Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a really pretty presentation. I really liked all the GitHub stuff thrown in there, so it gives you like nice visual cues.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to accomplish here, because we've outlined this in our fit docs already.
Right.
But I think having some visual cues is important here.
Yeah, the visual connection is great.
Especially how you got the muscle emoji to go horizontal.
How did I do that?
How did you do that? Crossed my mind.
Bye, web. Turn this off. Oh, hey, Yoshi.